Skinny Hardaway 7T. I'm back with another EP. Y'all do your boy a favor, y'all smash that like button for your boy when you roll on in. Whether you're here for a good time or a long time, I greatly appreciate you sliding through. If it's your first time, do your boy a solid. Don't make it your last time. Hit that subscription button there as well. We talk this good boxing, sports, parlays, predictions every single day, not just today. Today, we here with the Wake and Boxing. We got big boxing week this weekend, man. We got the day of reckoning, is what they're calling it, right? Where we got a massive heavyweight showcase. Pretty much, we got every heavyweight who's anybody, right? Pretty much fighting on this card, not named Tyson Fury or Alexander Usyk. Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk was actually supposed to be on this card too, but they couldn't come together for a fight. So, they went along with the plan as well. And now we got Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. No, not fighting one another, but the next best thing, right? They're fighting on the same card in preparation to fight one another. That is this weekend, right? That will be this weekend, this Saturday, the big one, the last card of the year, if I'm not mistaken. It's gonna be the last card of the year, and it's gonna end with a bang, man. My bad. It's the last card of the year, and it's gonna end with a bang, man. We got heavyweight fights. I want to go through about 9 fights on here that I want to run through. That I want to tell y'all about 9 different fights on here, mostly heavyweights, and then you got Dimitri Bivol taking on London Arthur. Y'all might remember London Arthur. London Arthur was the first guy to beat Anthony Yard, right? So Dimitri Bivol here as well. He's taking on London Arthur. I think that may be one of the 2 fights that's not a heavyweight fight on this card, but outside of that, pretty much we got all heavyweights, right? We got Markmudov, right? Arslan beat Markmudov, taking on Ajit Kaibel. We got Frank Sanchez versus Junior Fall. Flip Hargovic versus Mark Demori. Never heard of the Mark Demori dude. Then we got Dimitri Bivol versus London Arthur. That's not a heavyweight fight. Daniel Dubois versus Jared Miller. We got Jay Opatia versus Eli Zuro. That's not a heavyweight fight, but it might as well be a heavyweight fight. Deontay Wilder versus Joseph Parker. And then we got Anthony Joshua versus Otto Wilder. This isn't the last fight card of the year because we still have the Inoue and Marlon Taplis card, right? But most definitely a huge card. Nonetheless, shout out my guy Skinny Too Lit. He said this is a great card to end the year. Not going to lie. Yep, it is just a sign of a heavyweight card fight. At least we looking at 2+ KO Saturday. 2+ KO, man. I'm about to drop these predictions for y'all, man. I'm telling you, this is gonna be. I feel like this is gonna be, for my gamblers, right? For my bettors, man, this is gonna be one of the best cards of the year because I went through this, right? And I'm telling you, I feel like we're about to have a lot of people going to sleep. I feel like we're about to have a lot of people going to sleep. You know what I mean? On this card, when you got Big Dog, my guy Skinny Too Litty said 2 people. My guy Skinny Too Litty said at least 2 KOs this weekend. Skinny, man, I'm thinking we about to have about 5+ KOs. You know what I mean? This weekend. But I digress, right? We gonna get into this thing. It's 8 fights total, right? Of course, we're gonna go through all 8. I'm gonna try to do this. My bad, y'all. I'm gonna try to do this within 30 seconds. I say 30 seconds. I'm
gonna try to do this within the 30 minutes. So y'all work with your boy. The first fight of the card though, we're gonna start with Erlen Beck, right? Erlen Beck Mamadov is fighting. We gonna start with that first heavyweight. Right, let me go get my phone, y'all. Then we go get on this camera. Then we gonna make it do what it do. Alrighty. My bad, y'all. Let's get it. AB. The IT. What's good, AB? Appreciate you sliding through if you could. Hit that thumbs up for the boy. I'm getting situated, man. We about to make it do what it do. We got the big fight card this weekend. Big fight card weekend, man. Big heavyweight fight card weekend. We about to make it do what it do. I'm gonna do this, man. I'm gonna try to do this within 20. We gonna be here at least, you know what I mean, another hour. I'm gonna drop the timestamps on it as well for the ones that missed it. For the people that missed it, y'all most definitely could come check out the timestamps. I'm gonna at least do the rundown for sure. I'm gonna put the rundown in the description for my people to come through, slide through, you know, to watch when they wanna. For my people to slide through, come through, watch when they wanna. Looking for my roll-ups. Okay, boom. Let me give me a water bottle, y'all. Let me give me a water bottle. They finally going to do it, huh? AJ and Wilder, they not fighting one another this Saturday, but the rumor that I'm hearing about AJ and Wilder is that they fight March 9th. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing AJ and Wilder set for March 9th. This weekend, right? They're going to be fighting on the same card. They're just going to be fighting different people, but we still got highly entertaining. But we still got highly entertaining fights. You know what I mean? Nonetheless. But yeah, I do think that they're planning to fight one another. It's not this Saturday, but this is the first step to AJ and Wilder fighting one another. But the rumor that I'm hearing is AJ and Wilder is set for March 9th. Right, that's what I'm being told. That's what I'm being told at this juncture, right? That they're set for March 9th. You know what I mean? And I hope what I'm being told is correct, right? And I really do, because it's clear that Deontay Wilder has went over there, right? And he signed to the zone. This fight right here is going to be on the zone, right? We finally got Deontay Wilder on the zone, right? So it's evident, right? At least for this fight, or maybe the next couple fights, right? That Wilder is with the zone. So I think the fact that Wilder is over there working with the zone, doing business with the zone, then yeah, I mean, all signs point to it. Especially with me hearing that these guys already have a deal in place for March. We're just waiting. We're the ones that's just waiting to be, for the official announcement to drop. But I'm hearing that, Wilder and AJ already have a fight set for March. That they already have a fight set for March. We're just waiting on the official announcement, right? So, to answer your question, AB, hell yeah, man. It looks like we finally about to answer your question, AB. Hell yeah, man. It looks like we finally about to get that junk after all, right? After all the years of waiting. It's like ever since Erlen Bud, ever since that Earl and Bud happened, man, it seemed like the fight's been falling in line. You know what I mean? Earl and Bud was in the wakes of happening, right? And then you had Tank and you had Ryan Garcia, finally come together right after Earl and Bud. Their fight ended up happening before Earl and Bud, right? But Earl and Bud was already, coming together before Tank and Ryan was set, right. But nice since Earl and Bud, right? We had Tank, we had Earl and Bud come together, right? We had Tank and Ryan come together, right? We had Cool Boy and Monster New Way come together this year. We had Benavidez and Demetrius Andrade come together this year, right? A lot of these fights, they felt like fantasy fights, right? A lot of these fights they felt like was never going to happen. They felt like we've been going back and forth talking about for years, right? We had a lot of these fights happen this year. You know what I mean? So if there's any indication, right, on what's to come, you know what I mean, we most definitely can expect Wilder. We most definitely can expect Wilder and AJ to fight, right? But what I'm hearing is March 9th, right? That's what I'm hearing on that. Brody or AB. I'm hearing March. I'm hearing March 9th on it. I'm trying to figure out right now why my ass ain't spinning. I want to fix it. Okay, boom. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to fix my ass. I was trying to get my ass going. Now I got my ass going. We could go get down to the get down now. This right here, y'all know T. Y'all know Southern T news, real news that you can use, right? No fluff or disgust, right? No pep rallies throwing and growing. You know what I mean? Over here, we get y'all that real. We get y'all that real boxing. We get y'all that real boxing talk over here. So that's exactly what we about to do, man. We about to get into. Let me bring this camera, man. We about to get into this heavyweight card. I got 8 fight predictions for y'all right now. I got 8 fight predictions coming y'all way, man. Y'all ain't gonna want to miss this card. I damn sure ain't missing this card. This ain't one of these events where you want to be hearing about it. This ain't one of these events, right, where you even got to worry about falling asleep. Because guess what? We go get this thing early throughout the day because it's gonna be in Saudi Arabia, right? So the main events for these cards will start about 4 or 5 o'clock, right? There's gonna be an evening card this Saturday, so we're in luck when it comes to that, right? So it's gonna be an evening card. So we gonna have Saturday morning boxing, and we gonna get us a Deontay Wilder fight to happen about 4 o'clock, man. You gotta love it. You gotta love it, man. Deontay Wilder fighting at 4 or 5 in the evening. Anthony Joshua, he been fighting at 4 or 5 in the evening, right? But man, I don't know how to act. I don't know how to act now. We gonna have us a Deontay Wilder evening fight, right? You know what I mean? But let me go grab this bottle of water. I'm gonna come back and then we gonna get into these predictions. All right. I digress, man. I digress. What's wrong, my baby? I'm just downplaying there. All right. My bad, y'all. My bad, y'all. I'm back now. My bad, y'all. I'm back now. Y'all dipped up. Let me get right, man. Let me get right. To topping out this year with a wilder fight is fire. Yes, indeedy, my guy. Yes, indeedy. And we got an evening. We got an evening wilder fight too, man. So it ain't just like it's we got an evening wilder fight too, man. Right. So I like that, man. I ain't Deontay Wilder fighting at 5 o'clock, 5, 6, 7 o'clock. Can't beat that with a stick, man. You can't beat that with a stick, man. But I digress. Let's go and get into it. The first fight of the night. First fight on the fight card, man. We got my bad. The first fight on the card, man, we got now I talked y'all ear off for about 30. I ran y'all around the bush for about 30 while I get situated. First fight, we got Urslanbek Makhmudov versus Ajit Cable. That'll be the first fight of the day. That fight start around noon, right? This is the first heavyweight fight on the card. You got Makhmudov, 18-0, 17 KOs, facing on Ajit, 23-0. Let me go to BoxRec so I can tell y'all these folks exact stats. I'm doing this off my head. Makhmudov is 18-0, 17 KOs. And he's facing off against Ajit. He was 23-0. I think he got about 16 KOs. I'm about to get the proper stats for you guys. Makhmudov is 18-0, 17 KOs, 34 years old, stands at 6'5", taking on Ajit Cable, 23-0, 15 KOs, stands at 6'3", 31 years old. You got both these guys are basically, they're prospects, right? They're not prospects in age, but they're prospects in, experience and total number of fights. This will be both of their, huge step up fight. Ajit has fought Derek Chisora 2017. He fought Chisora, and he fought that Kevin Johnson guy that every heavyweight alive seemed like they fought Kevin Johnson, right? He fought Chisora and he fought Kevin Johnson, and he also TKO'd Arden Smacky in their last fight, right? Smacky was 20-1 before being stopped by Ajit, right? Ajit, he's facing Makhmudov. Ajit 3 years the younger. Makhmudov is, the bigger fighter. Both guys, are heavyweights. Ajit has good boxing ability, right? Makhmudov is known more so of a power puncher, right? But he does possess his boxing ability as well. In this fight, I think Makhmudov's size and his range, and I think his jab and his straight is going to play a big part in this. If he can avoid, those overhand rights, because Makhmudov has people like to, I guess, because he's so tall, right? They try to catch him. You know what I mean? Coming in or going out, they like to fling those roundhouse hooks at Makhmudov because he's 6'5", his head's kind of up there. They like to swing at it, and they land, right? People have success landing on them. I don't think Ajit in this fight, right? is going to possess the power to be able to stop Magneto, even if he's able to, connect on him, right? I don't think that he's going to have the power to stop Magneto, even if he's able to catch him with some of those right hands. I think as long as Magneto could avoid that overhand right in this fight, then he's not going to be in much danger at all. I think his jab and his range is going to see him to be the better fighter in this fight. It's going to see him through it. And I got Magneto stopping Agent, you know what I mean, in the first fight on the prelim, right? I know a lot of y'all might not know who this is, right? But Russian heavyweight Agent, Russian heavyweight Magneto Agent, German heavyweight. Think it's going to be a pretty good fight, you know what I mean, to start off that card. To start it off, though, we got Magneto by KO over Agent, right? So we got Magneto. Hope I'm not spelling his name wrong, and I don't think I am. Y'all do your boy solid, man. Y'all hit that thumbs up for your boy. I greatly appreciate you sliding through this thing, man. You in here talking that real spiel, you know what I mean? So we got Magneto. So we got Mudo, HMU. So we got Makamudo, KO over Cable, right? That's how I'm going to do it so y'all can know exactly where we at, right? So in that first fight, we got Makamudo knockout win over Cable. And we go do this live and in effect, right? So the first fight on the card is Magneto versus Agent Cable, and we go take Magneto, and we go take Magneto by knockout. If you're asking me a round, I think this fight is going to be an 8 or a 10 rounder, right? I think the stoppage happens. And I think the stoppage happens in this fight around. I think it happens between 7 and 9, right? If it's 8 round to 7 and 8. So I'm gonna go 7th round knockout, Magneto over Agent Cable, and what I think is going to be a pretty good fight to open up, the fight card on there. We got heavyweight action in the first fight, and I got Muhammad. I got Magneto KO over Agent. I think Agent is going to be outsized in that fight, and I think he is going to be out boxed in that fight, outmaneuvered as well. I got Magneto with the stoppage, probably TKO stoppage over, you know what I mean, Cable. Not expecting like a one-shot knockout, but most definitely expecting the stoppage in that first fight. I'm expecting a few stoppages tonight. That's just the first one. Y'all right along with your boy. Darius Gillard. Appreciate you sliding through this thing, Darius Gillard. Glad you can make it, King. Glad you can make it. Hit that thumbs up for your boy when y'all sliding in this thing, man. Whether you're here for a good time or a long time, I know there's other people live right now. You could be anywhere in the building right now, but you chose to be right here. I greatly appreciate y'all. We got these, y'all know we like to talk the real spirit, right? We got 8 heavyweight. We got 7 heavyweight fights this weekend and Dimitri Bivol. We just went through the first one. We got Magneto KO over Cable in the first fight in the opening card this Saturday. So we got Magneto KO over Cable in that first fight. We got Frank Sanchez versus Junior Fowl in the second fight of the night. And these fights are going down this Saturday, right? But we got Frank Sanchez taking on Junior Fowl. Junior Fowl is a New Zealand heavyweight. Frank Sanchez is from Cuba, if I'm not mistaken. Junior Fowl, 20 wins, 2 losses, 11 KOs, 6'5" with an 80-inch arm reach. He's taking on Frank Sanchez, 23 wins, 0 losses, 16 KOs, 6'4" with a 78-inch arm reach. So Junior Fowl has a 2-inch arm reach advantage over Frank Sanchez. I don't really think it's going to play a huge part in this fight, right? The 2 inches. But Junior Fowl does have a 2-inch arm reach advantage over Frank Sanchez. In this fight, you got a boxer puncher and Frank Sanchez, basically versus, right, a boxer puncher and Junior Fowl. Junior Fowl used to be considered, right, a knockout guy, but as of late, Junior Fowl hasn't really been stacking up the knockouts. You know what I mean? Like he was in the beginning. While he is still stacking up knockouts, right? Not quite like he was in the beginning. He's actually been stopped by Lucas Brown, and he lost on points to Joshua Parker. And before that, his last 2 fights went to decision, right? So about in his last 10, Junior Fowl has won about 5-5, right? 5 knockouts, 5 decisions. So that knockout threat, right? That knockout power that Junior Fowl possessed early is kind of starting, to fade just a little bit, right? So he's going up against Frank Sanchez, another guy, right, who is not the biggest puncher in the heavyweight division, right? But Frank Sanchez in his last couple fights, right? Frank Sanchez, his knockouts have been increasing almost, right? So you got Frank Sanchez as of late, who has been kind of putting it all together, looking pretty dang good. Eventually, Frank Sanchez is going to have to get a shot at one of these titles. But I digress. But you got Frank Sanchez, who's been looking good, who's been putting it all together, and he's taking on Junior Fowl in his second fight. In this fight, man, I think it's boxer puncher versus boxer puncher. I think it's going to be a boxing match. And I think that Frank Sanchez is going to be able to control the boxing match with his superb boxing and his jab. And while I do think it's going to be a boxing match, I do think somebody is getting stopped in this fight because I think over the attrition of the fight, Frank Sanchez is going to start to wear on Junior Fowl. And I think Frank Sanchez is going to stop Junior Fowl by TKO over the course of this fight. Again, they don't have whether it's an 8-rounder or a 10-rounder. So I'm going to go under, the synopsis of 8 or 10 rounds, right? That's what I'm looking at, 8 or 10 rounds, because, again, the rounds have not been disclosed just yet. But because it's such a high-level card, given all the high-level fighters on this card, right, I'm thinking these guys are going to be fighting 10-round cards, right? Because all these guys are either champions or former champions or former title contenders, right? So all these guys have had 12-round fights before, and all these guys have had high 12-round level fights before, right? So I'm not expecting any of these fights to be less than 10 rounds, right? But we'll go 8 to 10 to be safe, right? But I'm thinking over the course of time, Frank Sanchez, he finds the way to stop Junior Fowl. I think he's going to stop him technically, right? It's going to be a boxing match, and I think the stoppage is going to come over the attrition of the fight on Junior Fowl. And I got Frank Sanchez KO victory over Junior Fowl. If I got to put a round on it, right, like I did the first one, I'd probably go Frank Sanchez. I go Frank Sanchez 6-round stoppage over Junior Fowl, right? So we'll go Frank Sanchez. KO over Junior Fowl in that second fight. Let me drop that in the chat as well. So we done went through 2 other fights, right? 8 fights on the card. We went through 2 of them. Y'all do your boy solid. Y'all hit that thumbs up. So in the first fight, we got Makhmudov knockout victory over Cable. In the second fight, we got Frank Sanchez knockout victory over Junior Fowl, right? This is going to be a big night of boxing, man. Big heavyweight card. And I'm expecting boys to go to bed. I'm going to just be real with you. I'm expecting a lot of naps to be taken in this fight. As you can see, we went through the first 2, and I called KO through the first 2 fights already. Right. I'm going to talk about the whole card. I'm going to talk about the people that the other people ain't talking about on this card. I'm going to talk about the people that most people don't even know about on this card. Right. Yeah, I know we get that real deal, no fluff over here, real deal, spill that real boxing every single day, right? But just throw this out there real quick. It's looking like Tank and Devin probably is about to fight, right? And it's looking like AJ and Anthony Joshua probably is about to fight. It looked like they both might be fighting, you know what I mean, in March. It looked like they both might be fighting in March, right? But I digress. Sidetrack. But I digress. Let's move on to the third fight, right? We got Magneto KO over Cable in the first fight of the night. We got Frank Sanchez KO over Junior Fowl in the second fight on the card, right? But I digress. We gonna move it right along. We gonna move it right along to the third fight on the card. Let me get it pulled up. Let me fire it dope up. All right, let's move it right along to this third fight on the card. The third fight on the card. I'm gonna wrap this thing up in an hour, and at the end, I'm gonna do the rundown. I'm gonna drop the rundown in the chat for the peoples, man. Y'all do your boy solid, man. Y'all hit that thumbs up. Y'all tell a friend. Y'all tell a friend to tell a friend. You know that we up here talking this good boxing. Who else gonna give it to you this way? Nobody gonna give it to you quite like this. Again, I'm about to talk about the fights that people don't even know going on, right? We got Flip Hergovic versus Mark Demora. In this fight, man, this right here, I think this is going to be the least competitive fight on the card, right? This most definitely is the least competitive fight on the card. It's crazy how we got all of these good fights on the card, and then y'all throw in fucking Flip Hergovic with a soft touch. Everybody, what's good, Cornbread? Everybody on this card, right, got hard touches. Everybody on this card got good fights, right? And y'all go mess up the whole goddamn card with this matchup. You go put Flip Hergovic in there with basically a goddamn tomato can, right? That threw off the whole feng shui. You know what I mean? That threw off the whole feng shui of the whole card. You had close matchup after close matchup after close matchup, right? And then you go throw goddamn Flip Hergovic in the mix with fucking Mari, right? And I like Flip Hergovic, right? I like Flip, but I'm saying his opponent, right? The way that you matched Flip up is terrible, bro. I think that's gonna bring down this card. I didn't say it's gonna ruin the card, right? But I think it's gonna bring down that card. I think it's gonna bring down that card for sure, in the sense that all these other fights, we're not really sure, right, of the winner, who's going to win. But man, I feel like with this Flip Hergovic fight, it's already set in stone, man. I'm taking Flip Hergovic by KO. Flip Hergovic better KO this dude. If Flip Hergovic don't KO this dude, something went terribly wrong. If Flip Hergovic don't KO this dude, he don't even deserve to be, you know what I mean, considered one of the best heavyweights or even a contender, you know, in the new heavyweight ram, right? Just to bring it into y'all into perspective, every heavyweight on this card is ranked inside of the top 75, right? Every heavyweight on this card is ranked inside. Every person on this card is ranked inside of the top 75 in their, you know, weight class across the world, right? Flip Hergovic is fighting the only person on this card not ranked in the top 100. Not only is he not ranked in the top 100, he's not ranked in the top 200. He's ranked like 250. My thing is, how the hell did this fight even get sanctioned for Flip Hergovic? But I digress. Flip Hergovic by knockout in one of the most boring fights on the card, right? I feel like they set up Flip Hergovic, right, for that knockout. So if Hergovic don't get that knockout, he probably not knocking out nobody ever again, man. So we got Hergovic KO. We got Hergovic KO in that third fight on the card. So we got Hergovic KO in that third fight on the card. Not expecting a whole lot, you know, from that card in particular, right? But I digress. We move on. Now we got Dimitri Bivol versus London Arthur. About to bring up the tails of the tape for this. If y'all not really familiar, or if y'all don't really remember London Arthur is the guy who took Anthony Yards. Oh, shut up. Anthony Yards. Oh, right, is London Arthur, he took Anthony Yard over, and Anthony Yard, he came back, and then he ended up beating him. So just to give y'all a little, roundup on exactly who London Arthur is, right? But we about to get to these guys is box rich, right? So I can give y'all this thing, the right way. We got Dimitri Bivol taking on London Arthur in the fourth fight on the card. London Arthur 23-1, 16 KOs, 32 years old, 6'2". His only loss came to Anthony Yard, right? Shout out London Arthur. I didn't know London Arthur only had that one loss. You know what I mean? Shout out to London Arthur. His only loss is to Anthony Yard. He beat Anthony Yard by split decision. So he's the one that took Anthony Yard's right? Beat Anthony Yard by split decision. He's taking on Dimitri Bivol in this fight. 21 wins, 11 KO, 6 foot with a 72-inch arm reach, right? So what I noticed in this fight is they're both are the same height. They both have around the same arm reach. I think this is going to be a boxing match, right? I don't necessarily think anybody is getting knocked out. If somebody was going to get knocked out, right? I think Dimitri Bivol could TKO on Arthur, but with the style that Dimitri Bivol has and the style that London Arthur has, I don't really see anybody getting knocked out because London Arthur's not a guy who's going to, knock you out. He's not an overly aggressive puncher, not an overly powerful puncher, right? If he could stop you, it's going to be over the attrition time, right? TKO kind of stoppage. And Bivol is the same way. He don't just go out there and try to bite your head off. He goes out there, he wins the fight. And if you force him to bite your head off, he will, right? But style of fight, right? Neither of these guys are, the overly aggressive, going there, knock you out, stop you kind of guy. So I don't see a stoppage coming. If a stoppage does come, it's going to be over the TKO fashion in the late rounds because maybe one of the guys gassed out, right? But I don't see a stoppage in this fight. And I also don't see London Arthur being able to outbox Dimitri Bivol. So in this fight, I'm taking Dimitri Bivol. I think Dimitri Bivol wins this fight fairly easy, right? I think he wins this fight fairly easy. He was able to outbox Gilberto Ramirez last year. This is going to be a full year. Actually, it's going to be over a year since Dimitri Bivol has been in the ring. Literally over a year since Bivol stepped in the ring. Bivol last stepped in the ring November the 5th of 2022. Is now, when this fight take place, it'll be December the 23rd, right? So over a year since Dimitri Bivol stepped in the ring. Another reason why, right? I don't think this fight is going to be KO. I think you'll have to shake off a little ring rust, right? So let's go extend it. You know what I mean? Some rounds. But I got Bivol. I got Bivol points over London Arthur in that fight, right? I don't think Arthur is the level of boxer that Dimitri Bivol is. I don't think that Arthur is the level of boxer that Dimitri Bivol is, right? So I think Bivol wins that fight pretty comfortably. He shakes off the rust from being out over a year. He gets it together, puts on the show against London Arthur. Dimitri Bivol decision points win over London Arthur, right? But I digress. Yoda, what's good, Yoda? Appreciate you sliding through this thing, Yoda. Glad you can make it mine. Let me catch y'all up real quick. We didn't went through 4 of these fights so far, right? When I first came on, I talked y'all around the circle, right? Got 6-8, then we got into the fights. Our first prediction, man, the first fight, we got Makhmudov KO over Cable, right? I think eventually he catches him with one of those straight rights down the middle, gets Cable up out of there. We got Frank Sanchez over Junior Fowl. I think eventually the constant work and the constant pressure, right, the combination punching of Frank Sanchez going to be just a little too much for Junior Fowl. He going to stop him over the course of that fight on the back end. I say about the 7th, 8th round. We got Frank Sanchez TKO victory over Junior Fowl. In their fight, we got Hrgovic in the only sorry fight on the card, right? He fighting a guy who ranked like 250. Everybody else on this card is ranked in the top 100. Hrgovic fight is the only fight messing up the card. I think he gonna knock that dude out pretty smooth, pretty easy. At least he should, right? I got Hrgovic KO, and if he don't get it, I'm grilling them, right? Moving right along to last but not least, just to catch y'all up right now, we got Dimitri Bivol over London Arthur. So we went through 1, 2, 3, 4 fights so far, right? If y'all coming on in, this is an 8-fight card total, right? We are halfway through. Dimitri Bivol on points over Arthur. Dimitri Bivol been out the ring about a year and a month, right? So I think it's going to take him a little time to shake out a little rust. Don't think he going to stop London Arthur. Arthur has only been stopped by Anthony Yard, right? So, but I got Bivol winning this fight winning their fight pretty comfortably, pretty easily, right? Bivol points over London Arthur. Let's keep it moving right along. What's good, Yoda? Appreciate you sliding through this thing, Yoda, man. Big fights this weekend. When I say big fights, I mean it literally and figuratively, right? Big fights. Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, big fights, heavyweights all across the board. You know what I mean? This next fight on the card, right? I got a vested interest in, man. I'm telling y'all, not a huge fight, namesake, but when y'all hear these names, y'all gonna be like, yeah, T, I see why you feel that way. The next fight on the card, man, we got Gerald Miller versus Daniel Dubois. Let's talk about it, baby. Miller versus Dubois. Let's talk about it, man. Miller versus Dubois. Let's talk about it. That's the 5th fight on the card, man. I got a vested interest in this fight, right? I'm interested to see how both these guys, right? I'm interested to see what Jared Miller looks like after coming back off of his suspension. I'm interested to see what, Dubois looks like coming off one of the roughest patches in his career, right? You had Dubois lose his first fight last year, and you had Dubois almost lose a second fight. You know what I mean? Last year, you got some people who feel like Dubois quit in that fight against Joe Joyce. You got some people who feel like in his last fight, Dubois came in. He could have lost that last fight as well, right? That he got dropped 3 times. He didn't look great, right? So the question is kind of out on Dubois, right? Like, is Dubois an elite heavyweight, right? Or is Dubois one of those guys? Is he an elite heavyweight, right? Or is Dubois done? Has somebody cracked his egg and broken his egg? You know what I mean? For good, completely, right? Jared Miller said something interesting. Jared Miller said something interesting in the press conference, right? Leading up to this. He said to the boys, he said, I see it in you. Move. He said, I see it in you. He'll crack. He said, he'll break. I saw it in you. I saw that you will quit. He said, I'm gonna make you quit. He said, right. He said, you will quit. I saw you break, right? So the feeling out about the voice now is that you can break him. His will can be broken. And when people see, especially fighters, especially if they feel that you're in a place higher than them and they got somewhere to get, if they see that your will can be broken, they're going to come at you. They're going to come at you twice as hard as they will come at somebody, let's say, who, has, no quitting them, because they know if they push hard enough, or they feel like, right, if they push hard enough, you will give in before them because they seen you do it, right? So they feel like if somebody else can do it, I damn sure can do it, right? So I think this is going to be an interesting test of Dubois's will. If I'm Dubois, I want to make this a battle of skill. You know what I mean? But this is one of the fights that I'm more interested in. Let me see what my guy Yoda had to say. He said Triple D versus Big Baby should be good. I think this card going to be better than expected. Dog, I think this this gonna be lit like the whole card. Like, it's not an uncompetitive fight on here outside of that Flip Hrgovic fight. You know what I mean? It's not a fight that is not competitive on here at all outside of Flip Hrgovic in his fight. And if Flip Hrgovic don't get knocked out in his fight, boy, I'm cooking him. Move. I'm cooking him, right? But I digress. So let's get into this Big Baby versus Daniel Dubois, man. I think this gonna be one of the better fights on the card, man. I got a vested interest in this fight, man. I'm looking for this fight with a flashlight. I'm looking for. Y'all remember that Future song? I'm looking for this fight. Turn on the lights. I'm looking for this. I got this joint lined up on my list, man. We got Daniel Dubois, the number 4 ranked heavyweight, versus Jared Miller, the number 26th ranked heavyweight, right? So we damn near got a top 25 battle of heavyweights. This whole card really is lit, right? Let me just tell y'all something real quick, right, before I get into the schematic to that fight, right? We got Anthony Joshua versus Otto Wilder, right? There's 2 versus 5. We got Deontay Wilder, who's an interim champ, versus number 12, Joseph Parker, right? So that's about 3 versus 12, right? We got Dimitri Bivol, who's a champ, versus London Arthur, who's number 13. So that's 1 versus number 13. We got Du Bois versus Jared Miller. That's number 4 versus number 26. We got Opatia versus Zorro. That's number 3 versus number 30. We got Magmudo versus Ajit Cable. That's 17 versus 27. We got Frank Sanchez versus Junior Fowl. That's number 18 versus a regular title holder. And then we got Flip Hrgovic, a top 10 heavyweight, versus Mark Demora, the 370 ranked heavyweight. So the only bad fight on this card, right, honestly, is that Mark Demora and Flip Hrgovic. You know what I mean? Outside of that, man, you got close ass battles all the way across the board, right? But I digress. We got where we at right now? We got Jared Miller versus Daniel Du Bois. We got Daniel Du Bois, 19, 2 losses, 18 KOs, been stopped twice himself, 6'5" with a 78-inch arm reach. He's taking on Jared Miller. Jared Miller is undefeated, 26 wins, 0 losses, 1 draw, 22 KOs, has never been stopped. 6'4", 78-inch arm reach. So you got both guys coming in with a 78-inch arm reach. I got 11 people in the building right now. Can I get all 11 of y'all to hit that thumbs up for your boy? Help YouTube know that we live. Let YouTube know where you at. That we talking this good boxing. We going through this entire fight card. We're more than halfway through. We're on the 5th fight. Got 3 fights left. We on Jared Miller versus Big Baby, 6'4" versus 6'5". Both guys have 78-inch arm reaches. If I'm Big Baby Miller in this fight, like I was saying at first, I've seen Daniel Du Bois break. I've seen Daniel Du Bois, quit. I've seen Daniel Du Bois drop a few times. I've seen Daniel Du Bois stopped before, right? Daniel Du Bois is a guy that if you let him think, if you give him time to think, he can become a difficult matchup for you. But history shows us, right, that if you put that pressure on Du Bois, you put pressure on him mentally, and you make him react instead of making him think, that you can make Daniel Du Bois really, really uncomfortable, right? History also shows us that Daniel Du Bois struggles with active punchers, and Daniel Du Bois struggles with the jab. Now, while historically Jared Miller isn't a guy who overly uses his jab, so I do think that's a plus for Daniel Du Bois. While Jared Miller is a guy who puts pressure on you, he's active, and I think Du Bois is going to have to deal with that. He's not going to have to deal, with a blazing lightning jab versus Daniel Du Bois. So I think that's going to be able to keep Daniel Du Bois's vision clear. Daniel Du Bois gets in trouble when you stick the jab in his face and you obstruct his vision. It's hard for him to work around a jab if you have, your arms are as long as his and you have a good jab. You can keep it on him. It's hard for him to counteract that. That's really not how Big Baby Miller fights, right? So that's plus Daniel Du Bois. What's plus Big Baby Miller is active. Big Baby Miller is known to have a gas tank, right? The thing that made Big Baby Miller special was he's a heavyweight. He throws a lot of punches from round 1 to round 12, right? Not overly powerful, but because he maintained his energy from round 1 to round 12, that's what made him dangerous. Now, he did pop dirty for steroids, right? And when he came back, he didn't look quite as energized, right? His first couple fights, right? So that could be a question. Is that energy going to be there for Gerald Big Baby Miller down the road? But for style's sake, Big Baby Miller, pressure fight, he's going to come here. He's going to be physical with Du Bois because we've seen Du Bois falter under that pressure before. So Du Bois is going to have to be really ready for that early if he wants to win this fight. He's going to have to be mentally prepared to take this fight into deep waters. right? He said, my guy Darius Giller said, Big Baby. Uh, shout out my guy Josh Sanders, my guy Darius Giller. My guy Josh Sanders said, Big Baby, round 9 stoppage. Darius Giller said, DK got plus 200 for it to be stopped, 7 through 12. My guy Josh Sanders said, the boys has no chin, respectfully. Shout out the gang, them TWT. Shout out my guy Darius Giller. Darius Giller, you might as well go and join the gang, man. Go on, join the team, join the fam. Your fam anyway. But I digress. Appreciate y'all folks flying through this. Now he said Big Baby has a chin similar to Canelo, never been dropped or nothing. Right. So while I do think that the boys' biggest problem, right, is the jab, Jared Miller don't really possess. He don't really do that. Jared Miller does possess everything else, right? That he doesn't possess the boys' biggest problem, right? But he does still give the boys a lot of problems because of the sturdiness of him and how active he is. And if his stamina upholds like it normally does, the boys is the guy who kind of tends to fall, who kind of tends to fall, who energy bar tends to fall during the fight, right? That could get him in trouble with Jared Miller when we get to about, the 6th to 7th round. But if Jared Miller is the guy gasping for air about 6 or 7, right? Trying to take the boys out, and let's say he can't get him out early, then Jared Miller could find himself in some trouble, right? But in this fight, Jared Miller has been doing, a whole lot of talking. I was pretty high on Jared Miller going into the Anthony Joshua fight. A lot of people forget that Jared Miller and Anthony Joshua were set to fight in New York that day that Andy Ruiz beat Anthony Joshua. There was supposed to be Jared Miller in New York, in Jared Miller's hometown, versus Anthony Joshua, right? So Jared Miller likes to, complain a lot about him not having chances, but he did have that chance, right? I was high on Jared Miller at that moment in time, right? When he was about to fight AJ, I was high on him. I was telling everybody, man, I think this Jared Miller dude got a chance to be AJ. I think he could beat AJ. And then Jared Miller popped dirty. And I've been off that Jared Miller train since he popped dirty. You know what I mean? But he's getting a second shot right now. He's on this big time heavyweight card. They're trying to give him a shot to put his foot back in the door. They're giving him a nice fight. And Daniel Dubois, right? Big name. You know what I mean? It's going to hold some weight. So Jared Miller has a shot, man, to redeem himself. I'm going to take Jared Miller in this fight. I'm taking Jared Miller in this fight. I'm taking Jared Miller in this fight by stoppage as well, right? So if you kind of see a pattern today, I done took everybody by stoppage so far outside of Dimitri Bivol, right? So I got Jared Miller in this fight over Daniel Dubois, and I got him stoppage, and I got it by stoppage. I could see this fight. I got Jared Miller. I got 8th round knockout Miller, right? I got Miller knockout victory. I got Miller KO over Dubois. You know what I mean? And what I think is going to be a good fight. I think we about to get some questions answered about Dubois, and we're about to get some questions answered about Jared Miller. This fight right here is a show me fight. One of these guys, both these guys, one of these guys, both these guys, they got to show us. They got to show me. They got to show us that it's not over for him. Big Baby Miller got to show us that he is worth, you know what I mean, the trouble. The boys got to show us that he's not a hype job, that he's not done, that he does bring something to this heavyweight division. Because if you're Daniel Dubois, you didn't lost, a couple of times, you lose to Jared Miller, it pretty much knocks you out of the elite heavyweight conversation with a loss to Jared Miller. Right now, the boys, you can still kind of hang around the top heavyweight conversation, right? A lot of people already kicked you out the door, right? But you're not quite out the door yet. 19 and 2, 26 years old, right? But a loss to Jared Miller most definitely will set you way back. A loss to Jared Miller probably gonna have you fighting on Don King cards for real and forever. You know what I mean? I don't mean no disrespect to Don King, but to go from the biggest stage, having your own headline, to fighting on Don King cards, fighting Gurley, that's a big difference, right? So Jared Miller, got something to fight for to prove that he is who we thought he was. And the boys got something to fight for to prove that he still is one of the top heavyweights. I got Jared Miller in this fight. I don't believe in Du Bois's chin, right? I don't believe in Du Bois's heart at this point. I think Jerry Miller gonna come out here. He gonna try to put it on him, and Du Bois is going to have to answer that bell, man. You know what I mean? But I got Jerry Miller in that fight, 8th round knockout over Daniel Du Bois, and what I think is gonna be, a highlight action kind of fight, right? But I got Miller knockout over Du Bois. My guy Josh Sanders said, people don't know Arthur can box. He be yard, so B-Val, no easy fight. Oh yeah, fast, Josh. I talked about that, Josh. I got B-Val on the points in that fight. I don't think he's stopping yard, right? And he coming back off a year. I think it's gonna take him a couple rounds to get going, right? So it's going to be a boxing match, but I think eventually B-Val get him. Yeah, but I got B-Val on points in that fight. Anthony Yard is game. Anthony Yard only got that one loss. Anthony Yard. London Arthur is game. He only got that one loss to Anthony Yard, and he took Anthony Yard before that, right? So shout out Arthur London, right? Just to catch y'all back up, y'all see we got Miller knockout win over Du Bois. Just to catch y'all back up in the first fight, we got Mahmoudov, right? We got Mahmoudov KO over Cable, right? We got Frank Sanchez KO over Junior Fowl. We got Dimitri Bivol decision points win over London Arthur. Right? And then we got Jeremy Miller KO over Daniel Du Bois. Right? Then we got Jeremy Miller KO over Daniel Du Bois. So we got 4 knock. Damn. So we got 4 knockouts. So far. Went through 5 fights. We got 4 knockouts. So far. I think we about to have us a extremely lit card this weekend. These heavyweight, we got a big boy card, right? I'm expecting big boy results, man. We got Mahmoudov KO over Cowboy, Frank Sanchez KO over Junior Fowl. We got Flip Hergovic KO over Mark Demora. We got Dimitri Bivol points over London Arthur, and then we got Jeremy Miller KO over Daniel Du Bois, right? And we go put this in FanDuel right now. I'm gonna let y'all know how much this worth right now. You know what I mean? But we gonna keep it going, right? So Mahmoudov KO, Frank Sanchez KO, Flip Hergovic KO, Dimitri Bivol points, and we got Jeremy Miller KO. Right? So we went through 5 fights so far. We got Jeremy Miller KO, right? So we got 1, 2, 3 more fights to get through, y'all. We're getting to the main card, right? This is the main card, main event, co-main event, and the main event opener, right? The main event opener is the 3rd fight before the 2 main event, the main and the co-main. Yo, I got 11 people in the building right now. I got 13 likes, man. Y'all hit that thumbs up for your boy. If y'all ain't hit that thumbs up, y'all help get your boy to 20 likes. Greatly appreciate you sliding through, man. We've been here an hour. I know more than 20 of y'all been through here, right? I don't know exactly how many of y'all been through here because I ain't looked at the number just yet. But I know it's been more than 20 of y'all through here, man. Y'all hit that thumbs up. Y'all get your boy to 20. Y'all get your boy right. Greatly appreciate you sliding through. Now we got Jay Opatil versus Ellis Zorro. I'm about to go to the boss rig so I can do this thing the right way. We about to slide to the box rig so I can do this thing the right way. But yes, man, I got Jeremy Miller over Daniel. I got Jeremy Miller over Daniel Du Bois. Man, this card gonna be lit, y'all. Matter of fact, to all my gamblers and all my bettors, man, if y'all like to gamble, y'all like to bet, man, don't even bet this week with certainty. Don't bet this week. Save all this shit for this weekend, right? Save all the bets for this weekend. I don't even bet this week. I know some of y'all like the football and all that. Y'all, let's save our money, dog. We saving our money this weekend. We betting on this card. This is the card that we eat on, family. This is the card that we what? Come on, baby, what? This is the card that we Yeah. And that right. Save it, y'all. Save it, y'all. But I digress. Let's get to it. We got Jay Opatia and we got Ellis Zorro. We got Opatia, 23-0, 18 KO, 6'2", 76-inch arm reach, taking on Ellis Zorro, 17-0, 7 KOs. This right here, this is a big cruiserweight fight, man. A big cruiserweight fight, huge cruiserweight fight. Probably, right, most definitely top 5 cruiserweights, right? 2 of the best cruiserweights for sure, right? They got Elliot Zorro ranked as the number 30 cruiserweight in the world. Opatia is the best cruiserweight in the world, right? Elliot Zorro is the 6th best cruiserweight in his country, right? So we got 2 top fighters, right? We got 2 top 30 fighters facing off against one another. In this fight, I'm edging. Opatia, right? All right, but I digress, right? So this is gonna be a good fight, man. This is gonna be a good fight. Elizoro is a guy that I be betting on. I've been betting on over the years, right? I've been waiting. Oberti is a guy that I started betting on about maybe 2 years ago, right? He ain't let me down yet. I've been following Elias Zorro for a minute. So when I saw Zorro versus Opatia, I was like, oh, okay. So it's time. It's time. You know what I mean? My boy Ellis has reached the big time. He got Opatia. And this is gonna be a good fight, y'all. This is gonna be a good goddamn fight. 23-0 versus 17-0. You know what I mean? I'm expecting it to be a banger. This is a 12 rounder. In this fight, man, I'm going Jay Opatia, and I'm going Jay Opatia by stoppage because as much as I like Ellis Zorro, right? When you're going up a guy like Opatia, I don't think Ellis Zorro has enough power to keep Jay Opatia off of him, right? I don't think he has enough power to keep Opatia off of him. You know what I mean? I think it's gonna be a tough hit for him, right? Elliot Zorro, he's a guy, his physique, he's a big guy, right? You look at him, you would think he has more power than he actually does. But it's like Elliot Zorro is one of those guys where you look at him, you think, okay, he gonna knock that guy out, and then he end up not knocking him out, right? And then you'll go his next fight, you'll say, okay, well, I'm gonna take him by points, and then he end up knocking the guy out, right? 17 fights, 7 KOs, right? So he kind of sneak those knockouts in there. You know what I mean? He kind of sneak them in there every once in a while, right? And if you watch him fight live action with it, now this could work against a lot of people. But a guy like Jay Opatia, if you watch Zorro Ellis fight, when he hit guys, it doesn't look like it does a whole lot of damage, right? He's a keep you at bay kind of guy with his power. Opatia, he could box and he has that power. You know what I mean? So I think that's going to get my guy Ellis Zorro in some trouble. I got Jay Opatia by stoppage over Ellis Zorro. I think it'll be a late round stoppage. I'm going to call Jay Opatia. I'm gonna call Jay Opatia. I'm gonna call Jay Opatia. I'm gonna call Jay Opatia 11 round stoppage over Ellis Zorro. I say 11. I'm gonna go 10. I'm gonna go Opatia 10th round stoppage over Ellis Zorro, right? So I got Opatia. Make sure I spell his name right. Opeta. I was gonna put Titaa. Opatia KO over my boy Zorro, man. Hope I'm wrong, man. I hope Zorro pull it out, but man, I don't think he's gonna beat Opatia. Shout out Zorro Ellis. I've been watching Zorro Ellis for a long time, and this is the first time that I have ever bet against Zorro Ellis. But I like when I get fights like this, man. I like when I get guys who I know, right, who I've been following individually in their career, and they end up meeting on that crash course. I love it because that's when you know boxing did what it was supposed to do. That's when you know those guys do what they're supposed to do. Because I can't watch you in this division, you in this division, and y'all never end up fighting one another. That means somebody didn't want to fight somebody somewhere, right? But I digress. So I like when I get these fights where I've been watching this guy individually, watching that guy individually, and then boom, they meet up and I get to see them throw down. And we get to see who the best is. This is gonna be a good fight as well, man. There isn't a bad fight on this card outside of Flip Hergovi. Flip Hergovi about to get a knockout in the first or the second round. If he want to keep up with this card, right, he got to get him a knockout in the first or second round, right? But we got Jay Opatia, KO victory over Zoro Ellis. Y'all see a pattern, man. I didn't call knockout on every fight on this card except for Dimitri Bivol. I'm expecting it to be some pillows, some flower singing, and some church singing. You know what I mean? Some pillows, some flower bringing, and some church singing. You know what I mean? At this card, man. This card is going to be lit, and I think a lot of people going to sleep, right? So we got 2 fights left: main event, co-main event. They ain't really told us what's the main event and what's the co-main event yet, but I'm thinking Anthony Joshua is the main event, Wilder is the co-main event, right? 2 great fights, right? 2 great fights, right? Anthony Joshua versus Otto Wilder, Deontay Wilder versus Joseph Parker. And I think, this fight we're about to talk about next, right? I think this fight is gonna be a little better than people think. You know what I mean? I think this thing gonna be a little better than people think. We got Anthony Joshua versus Otto Wilder. Let's talk about it. AJ versus Wilder. Let's talk about it. Do you feel me? I think this fight gonna be a little closer than we think, y'all. You know what I mean? I don't think and y'all know I got a little spot for AJ, right? I need to stop saying I got a soft spot for AJ because AJ might like that, right? But y'all know I mess with AJ, man. I like AJ. Only thing I don't like what AJ did was not fight Deontay Wilder, and he probably about to fight Deontay Wilder, right? So after a while, I ain't gonna have nothing to be mad at AJ about. You know what I mean? But I digress. Anthony Joshua is fighting Otto Wilder. You know what I mean? This is not gonna be no cakewalk. Because let me tell you about how I feel. Let me tell you how I saw it. Let me tell you how I called it, right? The first time I seen this Otto Wilder dude, he was fighting this guy named Tyson Fury. Now, Tyson Fury was coming off his draw against Deontay Wilder, right? He was supposed to be fighting Deontay Wilder, but he ended up fighting this guy named Otto Wilder, right? So I said, Tyson Fury, you old trick made Mark ass punk. You supposed to be fighting Deontay Wilder, but you fighting this scrub named Otto Wilder that nobody knows about, right? So he fought this dude named Otto Wilder on ESPN Top Rank. ESPN Top Rank, where Tyson Fury got signed to after that first Deontay Wilder fight. Wasn't signed to Top Rank during that first Deontay Wilder fight. Fought Deontay Wilder, got a draw, right? Top Rank signed him, and his first fight was Otto Wilder, right? So he fighting this guy named Otto Wilder. Guess what I saw? I saw this dude that I never heard of. This dude I had been calling trash since that fight was announced. This dude that I said Tyson Fury should mop the floor up with, right? I saw this dude Otto Wilder outbox Tyson Fury in that ring. I saw this dude Otto Wilder split Tyson Fury shit wide open. Like he split it wide open. And when I say wide open, I mean he split it wide open. And I really feel like any other fight, right? I feel like any other fight, right, would have been, stopped, right? I didn't see fights stopped for less, right? I feel like any other fight would have been stopped, right? But this particular fight with Otto Wilder and Tyson Fury wasn't stopped, right? And this fight continued. Tyson Fury literally had a gash about the size of my goddamn arm, you know what I mean, in his goddamn head. And they let that fight continue. I saw Otto Wilder outbox Tyson Fury, and I saw him cut him open, right? And they gave Tyson Fury that fight, right? So since then, I've been watching this dude named Otto. What's good, Jazz? Appreciate you sliding through this thing. Trap, what's good? Appreciate you sliding through. Trap coming here trapping, you know what I mean? Coming here trolling. His name should be Troll, not Trap. But I digress. Right? So I've been watching this Otto Wilder dude since then, right? So arguably, right? And I said all that to say, right? Anthony Joshua got to fight Otto Wilder. We arguably should be looking at. We arguably should be looking at. We arguably could be looking at the first dude, actually the second dude, right? Because Wilder beat Tyson Fury in their first fight, which they gave him a draw in. Which why when I say draw, you see me do this every time I say draw because this happened right after that Wilder draw, right? So arguably, Otto Wilder beat Tyson Fury along with Deontay Wilder. I don't know how y'all view Tyson Fury, but I view Tyson Fury as he should be, right? I view Tyson Fury with those losses that he should have. The loss to Wilder, the loss to Otto Wilder, you know what I mean, and the loss to Francis Ngannou. That's how I view Tyson Fury. I view him with the losses that he actually should have, right? But I digress. So when I say all that to say that Otto Wilder is not a cakewalk. It's not gonna be. This is not a cakewalk for Anthony Joshua. This is not a fight that Anthony Joshua is about to come in here and just win. My guy Josh Sanders said something. My guy Josh Sanders said, "I got Wilder because he's southpaw who can box." AJ's kryptonite. You know what I mean? This is a tough ass fight for Anthony Joshua. You know what I mean? I'm not kidding y'all. And Anthony Joshua, what happened? Anthony Joshua has gotten to a point in his career, right, where and like when Anthony Joshua gets in, Anthony Joshua is now at the point in career, right, where he's more so a boxer more than anything, right? He used to be a knockout artist, right? Now he's more so a boxer. He boxes his guys until his knockouts, right? You going up against Otto Wilder, right? A guy who arguably outboxed Tyson Fury and won, right? A guy who arguably beat Tyson Fury, a guy who I seen outboxing, right? A guy who arguably beat Tyson Fury. So your strongest weapon now, AJ, is your boxing, and you're going in here with, one of the best pure boxers in the heavyweight division. Light on his feet, left hand guy, right? Both of you guys, like to use your jabs, right? This is most definitely going to be a battle of the jabbers. AJ historically does struggle with, you know, jabbers, right? You can find AJ. Usyk was able to find AJ with the jab. You know what I mean? Robert Helenius in his last fight was able to find AJ with the jab. That's what I believe kept AJ at bay, to some degree, which why he got the knockout in the 7th round, right, and not the 2nd round, right? He had to figure out Robert Helenius' jab. You know what I mean? But once he figured it out, right, he did get Robert up out of there. So I'm going to give him credit for that. But he has to figure out, when if you possess a jab, right, Andy Reeves, you know what I mean, fuck AJ up with his quick hands, with his jab and his right hook, right? That jab gets AJ kind of out of loops, right? If you could beat AJ to the punch, that gets him out of his sorts, right? And a guy like Otto Wilder specializes in beating you to the punch. He specializes in speed. He specializes in boxing. Otto Wilder's best weapon is literally his jab, right? You know what I mean? So this fight is going to be better than I think a lot of people think. My guy Josh came in and said he got Otto Wilder. He said it off the rip. He didn't even have to think about it. I ain't even got into the tail of the tape yet. My guy Josh off the rip said he got Otto Wilder, right? And you can't even call Josh crazy, right? Because this is a dangerous fight for AJ. He said AJ can't get away from the left. If you put a sign in this, he said if you put a AJ can't get away from the left if you put a sign up in his face for real. Okay. Okay. If you told him to, he can't get away from the left. Right. And Otto Wilder is lefty, man. But let's get to this tail of the tape, man. This right here, this gonna be a fucking banger. Man. Let's get to this tail of the tape. Otto Wilder, 26-1, 14 KOs, 33 years old, 6'5" and a half with a 78-inch arm reach. He's facing off against Anthony Joshua, 26-3, 23 KOs, been stopped once himself, 6'6", with an 82-inch reach. So Anthony Joshua is the bigger fighter in stature. He has a half an inch on him in height, and he has 4 inches on him in arm reach, 78-82. So advantage Anthony Joshua when it comes to the arm reach, right? So that's going to help Anthony Joshua, in a sense, be first, right? What Anthony Joshua lacks in his speed over Otto Wilder, he'll be able to make up for in arm reach, right? So that's the first thing that I noticed. Otto Wilder, I think, is the faster puncher with his hands, but he's giving up 4 inches in arm reach, right? So that'll kind of close that gap with Anthony Joshua. So and Otto Wallen would have to be in Anthony Joshua's range to land his punches. Now, what that does open up is Anthony Joshua quick enough to land on Otto Wallen when he's going in and out? You know what I mean? Because what I'm afraid of for AJ is that Otto Wallen is going to be a lot smoother, a lot quicker, a lot faster with his hands and on his feet than Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua could get outboxed in this fight from pillar to post. That's what I'm afraid of for my boy Anthony Joshua in this fight, right? But him having a longer reach, that means that Otto Wallen is going to at least have to put himself in danger to be able to get his offense off, right? For Otto Wallen, right? So Anthony Joshua is the bigger fighter, 4-inch arm reach, right? So that's advantage Anthony Joshua, right? Robert Helenius, similar in style to Otto Wallen, right? So that's good for Anthony Joshua. Jermaine Franklin, right, is a boxer as well, pretty good boxer, right? Gave AJ, pretty nice run. AJ impressed me in that Jermaine Franklin fight, right? Because Jermaine Franklin isn't an overly powerful guy, but Jermaine Franklin can box as well. And I think he has, just about or as much pop as Otto Wallen. Now, the difference is he's not left-handed, right? So I think Robert Helenius and Jermaine Franklin being his two last fights actually does kind of prepare him for Otto Wallen, right? In a sense. Otto Wallen, I don't think, as far as his matchups go, right? But I think he just won a split decision over Marat Gusso. Marat Gusso is a guy that came from cruiserweight. Gusso was one of the best cruiserweights, right? He came up from cruiserweight to heavyweight. Otto Wallen just won a split decision over him, right, in a 12 round. So, oh yeah, okay, I do remember that fight. I remember that fight. Yeah. So, both guys are coming out pretty decent victories. I think in this fight, like I stated, it's going to be a boxing match. He said Josh Sanders say everything, but AJ Son wrong with Trap, man. Son wrong with Trap. But I digress, man. Y'all do your boy solid. Y'all hit that thunder. Shout out my guy Trap Bayless. Shout out my guy Trap Bayless sliding through this thing, man. Shout out my guy Trap Bayless sliding through this thing. But yeah. So AJ fought Helenius and Jermaine Franklin his last fight. Otto Wallen fought Gustav in his last fight. Now what Gustav, that's a good win for him. So I think he's ready. Like he's Gustav and AJ, they have a now AJ is a lot bigger than Gustav, right? But they got kind of a similar, kind of game. That's not too far off, right? So I think Otto Wallen, as far as his last opponent checks out as a credible opponent, for AJ. So both guys have fought, guys to prepare them, coming into this fight, right? So this makes this even more of a hard fight to pick. Honestly, y'all, I truly don't know exactly who I'm picking in this fight. I'm still breaking it down in my mind and in my head. That's the beauty, about Southern T and my breakdowns, because I know who I want, right? But I wait to look at the tail of the tape until I come here, right? And then I start to play the fights out like 4 or 5 different ways in my head, right? And I'm seeing different ways this fight could go, right? And I see ways that both guys could win this fight, right? I'm looking at the numbers and the stats and the measurables and everything, right? And it's kind of checking out. I will say this. Otto Wallen having a split decision versus Marat Gusto, right? That's a bit of a red flag, being that Gustav is coming up from cruiserweight. AJ is a lot bigger, is a lot stronger than him, right? So I do remember that fight, right? And he did give, Otto Wallen some problems, right, with pushing them back, putting that, being real physical with him. Quick, TWT. What's good, Queen? Appreciate you sliding through this thing. If I don't drop the flames for nobody, I got to drop the flames for the Queen. Y'all know I like to say, if I don't drop the flames for the game, I got to at least drop the flames for the Queens. Appreciate you sliding through this thing. Quick, TWT in the build. But I digress. Appreciate y'all folks sliding through this thing, man. If y'all could hit that thumbs up. But yeah, man, I'm still kind of, I'm still playing this fight out in my head right now because I see ways that both these guys can get this victory. He said, back regular schedule program on the clock again, vacation over. Right, quick. Appreciate you sliding through this thing, man. Appreciate you sliding through. Right. So, but I think this is going to come down to a boxing match. I think AJ is going to, come here and he's going to decide, okay, I'm going to be the better boxer and I'm going to outbox him. And I do think, right, to a degree, AJ should do that. But I think where AJ is going to find a problem in this fight, right? If AJ decides in his mind that I'm only going to outbox Otto Wilder, right? I'm just going to go here. I'm going to outbox Otto Wilder. I'm going to make this a clean fight from round 1 to round 12. I'm making a clean fight with Otto Wilder. I think that's where AJ is going to lose this fight at because Otto Wilder's biggest problem, right, is when guys pressure him, when guys crowd him, when guys throw that power back at him when he's trying to box. When he shoots his jab, right, and guys shoot their hooks, right? When you punch, when Otto Wilder punch, because Otto Wilder is quick, he wants to beat you to the punch and he wants to get out the way. Where Otto Wilder gets in trouble, right, is when guys can make him miss his entry shots, make him miss his jabs, right? And they could hit him with their second and their third shots, their hook, right? Or their first and second coming off the head movement, right? AJ, I do think he's going to want to box Otto Wilder to a degree, right? Right. I think in this fight, AJ is going to have to make this fight dirty at times. We're going to have to get some of that old AJ in this fight. See what you mean, right? Like I was saying earlier, as of late, right? AJ pretty much has been outboxing guys into knockouts, right? He's been outboxing guys and getting the knockout. Right? Against Jermaine Franklin, he didn't get the knockout because Jermaine Franklin is a durable heavyweight. Jermaine Franklin came back and beat Dylan White after he fought Anthony Joshua, right? So Jermaine Franklin ain't no walkover, ain't no scrub. You know what I mean? Jermaine Franklin has found his made his nice niche for himself since that Anthony Joshua fight, right? So he came back and he really beat Dylan White, but they didn't give him the fight on the scorecard. Is Jermaine Franklin, right? So he's boxing guys into knockouts. He didn't knock out Jermaine Franklin, right? Jermaine Franklin is tough, right? But he boxed himself into that knockout with Robert Helenius. Robert Helenius is similar in size to Otto Wilder. He's actually bigger than Otto Wilder, taller than Otto Wilder, right? But similar in size to Otto Wilder, right? So I like that being AJ's last fight. I think Otto Wilder is a better pure boxer than Robert Helenius, but the sizes match up right. Jermaine Franklin is also a guy who I think is boxing level. He could box his ass off, right? Jermaine Franklin is a pretty good tactical boxer, as we saw against AJ and we saw against Dylan White, right? So I do think those guys prepare him for the boxing of Otto Wilder. Is Otto Wilder, right? His last fight was against Murat Gustov, right? That's a lot smaller guy than AJ, right? I'm looking at this fight right now. He's putting a lot of pressure on Otto Wilder, right? Otto Wilder is throwing his jab. What Gustov is doing is he's attempting, right, to make Otto Wilder miss that first punch. Otto Wilder doesn't throw, a whole lot of hooks, right? He's not a big combination puncher. So Gustov he's making him miss that first punch, right? And he's trying to land, with the hooks and the body shots in the inside game. Anthony Joshua is a headhunter, right? So he's going to be swinging for the head of Otto Wilder a lot. I think Anthony Joshua in this fight, he's going to have to focus a little more on Otto Wilder's body. Otto Wilder is one of those dudes. He uses head movement and he uses his feet, right? He uses both. So Anthony Joshua, I think he's going to have to work the body a little early. My guy Crusher be proud of me right now, right? He got to work the body. I think AJ going to have to work the body earlier on Otto Wilder if he want to slow him down for the course of these fights. And another thing about Otto Wilder is that I've noticed, right? Otto Wilder does slow down about midway through these fights. Otto Wilder has to be the skinniest fat dude, right? He has to be the skinniest heavyweight that's always asking where the clock, what time is it, what round is it, how much time we got. Bro, you're not even that big, bro. Why are you always asking what round it is, Otto Wilder, right? But he kind of tends to, because he uses a lot of movement, right? And he's a heavyweight. So he tends to kind of, balance out a little bit around that 6-7 rounds. Wilder is a lot better in the beginning of fights than he is on the back end of fights, right? Now, AJ also has that problem, but what AJ does is he kind of slow walks the first half of the fight. He kind of walks you through. He gets you to that deep end, right? So I think AJ, why AJ is going to have to box, I think more so early. I think in those middle rounds, kind of like he did against Robert Helenius, that's when AJ is going to need to turn it up, right? So I do want AJ to box, but I think AJ is going to have to fight this fight a little more like the old AJ. I think he's going to have to go for Otto Wilder's head a little bit. Now I do want him to kind of pace it so he himself doesn't gas out. Shout out Derrick James. Derrick James has AJ in great shape, down there in Texas, right? He has him in great shape. He looked awesome, in shape wise. Looked a little smaller, lost a lot of that bubble fat, a lot of that bubble muscle, I should say, right? AJ had a lot of bubble muscle, right? He lost a lot of that bubble muscle. He's more trim, right? He's still big as a motherfucker, right? But he's more trim than he used to be in, right? So I think that's going to help with his cardio and him getting to those later rounds, along with him, boxing that fight accordingly to get to the later rounds in that fight, which is how he's been fighting as of late, right? So I think AJ gets this fight to the 6th, 7th round, and I think AJ is the one that takes Otto Wilder in the deep water. I think Otto Wilder, I tell y'all this. I think Otto Wilder can come out here and he can win 6 rounds of these fights. He can win every round, right? But I think with the game plan that AJ got, he go get through those first 5 or 6 rounds with his gas tank, and he go save his gas tank for the back end. He go turn it up on Otto Wilder on the back end of that fight. Eventually, as it goes, Otto Wilder kind of tilts off towards the back end of in a lot of his fights, right? Which is how I think Gustav was able to kind of, make that fight a split decision, right? I think AJ go take him in the deep waters, right? He go keep his tank. Otto Wilder may look great the first 6 rounds, right? But I think eventually when AJ decides to put that pressure on him, Otto Wilder isn't going to have enough power, enough oomph, enough pop to keep AJ up off of him. And I think that's going to be the difference in this fight. I got Anthony Joshua, and I got Anthony Joshua winning this fight. I don't think that he's going to be able to knock Otto Wilder now because I think Otto Wilder is going to be able to survive in this fight. But I got AJ beating Otto Wilder, and I got AJ beating Otto Wilder because I think over the back end of that fight, he going to be putting hands, paws, and feet on Otto Wilder, and the schematics of the fight is going to be AJ dominated him because Otto Wilder is going to control the first half of that fight. Anthony Joshua is going to control the back half of that fight. And I think Anthony Joshua winning that back half in those championship rounds is going to see him through, and he's going to be able to get the win over Otto Wilder. I got Anthony Joshua decision win over Otto Wilder. I don't think a knockout happens in this fight. I got Anthony Joshua beating Otto Wilder because over the back end of that fight, I think he's going to he's going to impose his will physically on Otto Wilder, kind of like he did Robert Helenius. As soon as he started to impose his will on Robert Helenius, he knocked him out, right? And I think it took him 6, 7 rounds to do that to Robert Helenius because he knew that one, Robert Helenius couldn't really hurt him, right? And he knew that he was going to need that energy on the back end so he wouldn't be tired. I think AJ is the guy like this, and this is the reason that I like AJ. I told my guy Yoda, this is the reason I like AJ because he learns from his mistakes. Every loss, AJ got better. He got better from his Andy Ruiz loss, beat him a different way. He got better from his Alexander Usyk loss, performed greatly. For sure, quickly. Performed greatly that second time, almost stopped Alexander Usyk. Right? You know what I mean? So he gets better. So I think he's going to be even better than he was in that last fight, right? I think he figured out, okay, I could beat almost anybody as long as I don't get tired. And I think he got it figured out. So I think over the first half, Otto Wilder is going to look great because Otto Wilder is a good boxer and it's going to have some to do with AJ knowing that he needs to preserve himself to a sense, right? Otto Wilder can't knock him out. You know what I mean? Robert Helenius couldn't knock him out. Robert Helenius was actually landing on him, but couldn't knock him out, right? So some people feel like AJ have chin issues. I don't feel like AJ had chin issues, right? That's a big dude. You know what I mean? I seen him get knocked down. I seen him get up. I seen him quit, right? But I seen him get knocked down. I seen him get up, right? I seen him get punched on. I seen him stumble, right? And I don't think Otto Wilder has that kind of power for AJ. Right? So I got Anthony Joshua points decision win over Otto Wilder. I maybe go split decision. You know what I mean? I maybe go split decision. I go AJ split decision over Wilder. You know what I mean? But I think over the course of their fight, right off the back, AJ, I think out of Wilder is going to control the fight early. AJ go control it late, and AJ go be able to pull it out because I think AJ is going to do more damage in controlling on the back end of that fight, right? Because out of Wilder is a guy who kind of tails off on the back end of his fights, and I think AJ has been game planning for his tail off on the back end of his fights over his last 2 or 3 fights, right? I like the way that he looked with Derrick James. This is going to be a boxing match, right? This is going to be a boxing match. But I think at some point, AJ is going to impose his will, his size, his reach, the fact that Otto Wallen can't really hurt him like that. And I think eventually he's going to get him out of there. You know, I mean, I think eventually he's going to knock him down. I think Otto Wallen is going to be able to weather the storm. Outside of Otto Wallen getting knocked out cold, right, which I don't think he is. I don't think AJ knocks out Otto Wallen, right? I think he beats him. But I don't think he knocks him out, right? Outside of it being a one-shot knockout. And I don't see Otto Wallen being there for a one-shot knockout. Otto Wallen ain't the guy who will be there for that one shot, right? But as the course of the fight goes on, I do think AJ is going to start to touch on him a little more, right? Because fighters who use the ring a lot, it's hard to keep that up from round 1 to round 12, which is why Otto Wallen kind of tails off on the back end, right? But I digress. D free TWT. In that fight, I got AJ split decision win over Otto Wallen, right? And let's see what the Vegas odds think on that fight. Let's see if Vegas think that fight going the distance or not, because I've been putting this in a parlay as we go, and I'm gonna tell y'all what this worth at the end of the show. Shout out my guy D Free TWT. So you seen AJ quit his strong. He quit against Andrew Ruiz. Anytime you don't get knocked out, I just seen my boy Sonny quit. I seen my boy Boo Boo quit. I seen my boy AJ quit. Right? Yeah, they quit, man. It just is what it is. They did what they did, man. They quit. He quit. AJ quit, man. AJ quit. But he came back bigger and better, right? So it's all good. It's all good, man. He came back bigger. He realized that he wasn't going to win. He said, I'm not going to win this today. He lived to fight another day, preserved his career, came back, got his belt back. You know what I mean? I digress. I don't question AJ's heart no more because he came back. He did that against Andrew Ruiz. I don't question his heart no more because he came back and he did that against Alexander Usyk. Like I said, he gets better with every fight. Every time he learns from his mistakes, and you got to fuck with a guy like that, right? He learns from his mistakes. He's a thinker, right? He's a thinker, and sometimes being a thinker, you can overthink yourself, and that's AJ's problem. Mentally, they're like, he weak. I don't think he's weak mentally. It's just when you're an overthinker, sometimes you can outthink yourself. You know what I mean? AJ's a thinker, and sometimes you overthink, right? But AJ did his damn thing. Yeah, but I most definitely seen him quit before. Shout out my guy D Free TWT. But I digress, man. So let's check this thing out. Let's check what's good, AB. Let's check this thing out, Josh. Quick. Let's check this thing out on the let's see what this AJ points is. I think that thing going points, man. I don't think AJ knocking out of Wilder now, and I think he gonna beat him. He said Wilder going to basket. Yeah, my boy. Let's check it out, BC. We gonna do it both ways, BC. We gonna do it both ways, man. I don't think he going to bed though, dog. I won't mind seeing it though, BC. I love to see it. Let's check it out, baby. Anthony Joshua points is plus 124. Anthony Joshua KO is plus 188. So y'all know what that means, y'all. Vegas thinks that Anthony Joshua is going to win on points before he wins on knockout. BC. Now, not by much, BC. Not by much, right? But I tell y'all this. Me and Vegas is right on the same, right? Vegas got AJ points plus 124. They got AJ knockout plus 188. It's about that close, man. It's about that close. Because I'm really like, as much as he could win this on points, right? He could knock his ass out too, right? But I'm thinking Ala Wallin finds a way to get through that, right? I'm thinking he finds a way to get through that. And I think it go points. And I think Vegas is thinking like me, but Vegas also in the back of their mind, they think AJ could not come out too. It's gonna be that one shot. If he knock him out, man, it's gonna be a one-shot thing. And I'm not thinking that Wallin is going to be there for that one-shot KO, right? Because he's a mover, he a boxer, he got head movement, right? I think if he do stop him, it's probably gonna be a TKO. But I don't know. I have a hard time seeing. I don't know, man. I ain't gonna say I have a hard time seeing Wallin get stopped. I damn sure could see him go to sleep, but I think Wallin's ability gonna be able to get him through BC. But it's about tit for tat though. 124, 188. They both in the ones. You know what I mean? And I thought AJ points would be worth more than that. It's crazy. They think that it's going the distance, right? We'll get more for the knockout, but not that much more, right? If we go, all right. So right now we did 6 fights, right? We had 6 fights. We got Makhmudov KO over Ajit Cable. We got Frank Sanchez KO over Junior Fowl. We got Flip Hrgovic KO over Mark Demora. We got Dimitri Bivol points decision over London Arthur. We got Jared Miller KO over Daniel Dubois. We got Jay Opatia KO over Ellis Zorro. Right. And in this fight, AJ versus Otto Wallin, I'm thinking AJ wins on the points, right? If we put AJ on the points, our play is 10 for 452. If we take AJ KO, our play is 10 for 585. So the difference between a KO 452 and Joshua KO 585 is about $140. So if we thinking, so with our parlay right now with the fights that we pick, if we thinking AJ with points, we'll win 10 for 445. If we thinking AJ KO, we'll win 10 for 585. You know what I mean? I don't think AJ knocking. I really don't think he's knocking him out, man. He said, "Can Wallin take AJ body?" That's what I'm saying, Trap. If AJ want to win this fight, AJ is going to have. Man, my knee just didn't win. If AJ go win this fight, AJ's going to have to put some body work on Otto Wallin. AJ like the head hunt. He like the head hunt though. That's why I'm thinking that Otto Wallin making the distance, right? Because I don't think AJ go focus too much on the body. I alluded to that, in my soliloquy, before I got to my decision, right? AJ likes the head hunt, so I don't think. But if I said if AJ focus on the body, slow Otto Wallin down, it could get scary for Otto. But AJ like the head hunt, so I'm expecting AJ to head hunt a little bit. So I'm expecting Otto Wallin to be able to survive the head hunt. You know what I mean? He said, "I don't see tight shorts KO and Wallin." Yeah, you know what I mean. I could see it, right, but it's tough. It's gonna be tough to knock out Wallin, dog. You know what I mean? It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to knock out Wallin. Not saying it can't, bro. Vegas is about where I'm at with it. You know what I mean? But I'm thinking AJ points. I'm thinking AJ wins on decision. I got AJ split decision win over Otto Wallin, man. I think it's gonna be a great fight, though. I got AJ split decision, man, over Otto Wallin. And that knockout is worth more. I'm tempted to take that knockout. That knockout is worth $140 more. The knockout is worth $130 more. So I'm tempted. I'm tempted to go KO. But I'm thinking AJ split decision win over Otto Wallin this Saturday. I got AJ for the win, most definitely, right? Whether it's a split decision or KO, I got AJ for the win. I think AJ pull it out, and we get AJ versus, Deontay Wilder, if Deontay Wilder is able to be victorious over Joseph Parker. So y'all start I did there. Now we got Deontay Wilder versus Joseph Parker. Let's talk about it. We got Wilder versus Parker. Let's talk about it. What Blue saying? Let's talk about it. We got Wilder versus Parker. Let's rap. Let's talk about it. Y'all know my job. Let's rap. Let's rap, man. Let's talk about it. So what I want y'all to do is, right, I'm finna ask y'all who y'all got. Before we get to the main event, right, at least it's the main event over here. AJ said he don't know who the main event is. He don't know if it's him or Wilder, right? So we don't know who the main event is. They both main events. Really, we got two main events, my nigga. Motherfucker, Otto Wilder versus AJ is a main event card. And goddamn, Joseph Parker versus Wilder is a main event. We got two main events, right? So the first main event and the second main event, right? Whichever main event comes first. I ain't really sure which one going first. Or you know what I mean? Neither heavyweight fighter is really sure who going first. When they asked AJ, AJ said, I think he going first, though. You know, that was wild. AJ conceded to Wilder. He's like, I think he going first. And in my mind, I would think AJ would be. I mean, he said, I think he the main event. He said, I think Wilder the main event. That's what AJ said. You know what I mean? But I would think that since it's AJ people, I guess it's Wilder people now too, because Wilder signed to the zone, right? But since it's AJ people, right, he's been with them, I would think, right, AJ. But when they asked AJ, he said, I think Wilder the main event, but I ain't sure. And then somebody was like, AJ, I think you the main event. AJ said, well, okay, that's good too. Let's go with that. That's good too, right? So I don't even really think he know, but I'm thinking it's AJ, right? So this will be considered. So AJ Wallen will be considered the main event, right? So I guess Wilder is co-main. I guess we'll see. I don't really fucking know, right? But both of them main events, right? Both of them main events, right? But before I get in there, let me give y'all this rundown real quick. We got 7 legs in here right now. 8 fights. We got 7 in here right now. We got and this all the same card, right? This all this heavyweight card, the Wilder and the Wilder and AJ card. This all the same card. We got Magneto KO, Frank Sanchez KO, Hargovic KO, Big Baby Miller KO, Opatia KO, and then we got Dimitri Bivol points decision. We got Anthony Joshua points decision. Now we got Deontay Wilder versus Joseph Parker. Let me go to the box rep so I can do this thing the right way, right? So we can break this thing down only the way that we can. Deontay Johansson Wilder. No, I'm just playing. Let's go. Deontay Wilder. Let's get it. How about the 16 passenger? This is G5. No, this not no challenger. Hey, Ricky, some members with me in the seat, coast seat. There's some passenger. We have to get. Drink a whole lot. Wake up, repeat. Take a look. Mix it with we saying 3D. No, I'm done. I don't do bullshit. I'm bullshit. Let's get it, baby. We got Deontay Wilder, the Bronx Bomb, 43-0, 42 KOs, 2 knockouts, 1 drop. Joseph Parker, 33-3. We got Deontay Wilder standing at 6'7" with an 83-inch arm reach. The Alabama Slammer facing off against Joseph Parker, 33-3, standing at 6'4" with a 76-inch. Ooh, that is terrible. Oh my God. Oh, now that's terrible, y'all. Hey, y'all. That's terrible. Oh no, that's not gonna work, Joe. Oh no, that's not gonna work, Joe. Joseph Parker is boy. Wow, they got a 7-inch arm reach advantage on him. 83-76. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. Hey, now Joseph Parker can box his ass off, y'all. He can box. He could box. He's sturdy, right? Only been stopped once. You know what I mean? He's sturdy. Got stopped only once by Joe Joyce. Took some shit from Joe Joyce. But now why Joe Joyce got some power? Joe Joyce and Wilder power. 2 different kind of powers. Oh my God, bro. This man is giving up 7 inches of arm reach. Y'all saw what happened to the last 2 security guards. What happened to the last dude that gave up 7 inches of arm reach? Did y'all not see my Bam versus Sonny Edwards prediction, man? I drop my shit at the beginning of the week every week, like I'm doing now today. I drop my shit at the beginning of the week every week. I'm gonna be dropping my UFC predictions today. You know what I mean? I drop my shit at the beginning of the week every week. So what I'm saying is, did y'all not see what happened to the last dude who gave up 7 inches of arm reach? Bam and Sonny. And shout out Sonny. I love Sonny as a fighter, right? At some point, man, you just outmatched. And Joseph Parker is just outmatched. Now, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I've been saying the whole time. If y'all been over here at Southern T, y'all know I've been saying the whole time, hey, bro, man, Wilder ain't just go beat Joseph Parker like y'all think. I said, when that first fight got announced, I said, bro, that's a better fight than people think, right? And I literally don't look at the tail of the tape until fight week. You know what I mean? I know who I want. I know what I think will happen, but I don't look at the numbers and the stats until fight week on purpose, because I like to keep it fresh for y'all so we can have this banter back and forth. You know what I mean? The fact that Joseph Parker is giving up 7 inches of arm reach to Deontay Wilder, there's no way in hell he's beating Deontay Wilder. This fight, again, kind of like Bam and Sonny, right? Kind of like Bam and Sonny. And go check out my prediction on that. I called their fight down to the round of the knockout, right? Joseph Parker doesn't not stand a chance because he's not a good fighter. He doesn't stand a chance because when you're fighting somebody who is on the same level as you, right, and you're giving up tremendous size, right, you're giving up 7 inches in arm reach, right, you are a boxer puncher. You want to land your jab. You want to, be slick with it. And you find another guy in Deontay Wilder who also wants to land his jab, who's slick with it, right? So now it becomes a who's going to land first battle, right? And who can land first, who can land harder. Now while Joseph Parker does possess power, he's not a heavyweight that you think of and you say power puncher. Joseph Parker, 33 wins, 23 knockouts, right? Now, while there is a lot of knockouts, you compare that to Wilder, 42 wins, 43 knockouts, right? You got AJ, who's about at 24 wins, 23 knockouts, right? I'm saying to say like the heavyweights, like who are considered the knockout guys, right? They have about a knockout or two that separates them. Joseph Parker got 10. He's a boxer. He's a heavyweight boxer, right? He's one of the pure boxer heavyweights, right? He's one of the better boxing heavyweights that there is, right? The problem in this fight is, talk your ass off, Wilder can box too. You don't win a bronze medal in the Olympics without being able to box, right? He didn't get 1,000 knockouts, you know what I mean, in the Olympics. I think he had about 4 or something like that, right? You know what I mean? But so he wasn't knocking guys out, right? Wilder can box, contrary to popular belief, right? You don't knock out 4 or 3 people, right? You don't knock out people off your back foot, right? If you're not being able to box, right? Wilder sets people up for knockouts. He sets you up for that right hand. He's master setting people up for their right hand, right? Pretty much everybody has been caught with a setup from their right hand at some point in his life. Everybody, even when he lost, right? Everybody gets caught with their right. At some point, Joseph Parker is going to get caught with their right hand. The question when you fight Deontay Wilder is not if you're going to get caught, right? And I've been saying this. I invented this shit, right? I invented this. I don't care what nobody say. I invented this, right? With Wilder, it's not a question of if you're going to have to take one of those right hands and get up off the ground. It's a matter of when are you going to take that right hand and can you get up off the ground to continue that fight? Because everybody who's been in the ring with him at some point in that fight has taken that right hand. You know what I mean? Everybody has taken that right hand who's been in the ring a while. So you're going to have to take that right hand, right? So the question is now at this point, do I feel like Joseph Parker can get up and continue that fight after taking that right hand? And I tell you this, my answer to that is no. Joseph Parker is in a tough situation. Joseph Parker is actually smaller than Deontay Wilder, right? And that's never a good thing. That's never a good thing. You know what I mean? He's smaller than him in arm reach, smaller than him in height. Now he may weigh a little more, and he may only weigh more than Wilder by like 10 pounds, right? And most of the time Wilder is outweighed by like 20 to 30 pounds, right? So Joseph Parker is one of the smaller heavyweights as well. Not these people are not small at all. 6'7", 215, 220 pounds, right? 6'4", 220, 225, 30 pounds for Joseph Parker. They're not small people on the grand scheme of life, but they small people for the heavyweight division, right? So these are two of the smaller heavyweights, right? And Joseph Parker actually is a little smaller than Deontay Wilder on the grand scheme of things. Not only is he a little smaller, right? Well, his advantages, right, which will be his speed, his jab, is going to get nullified in this fight because Wilder has, on paper, a better jab. That's not me being biased. That's what it really is. Check the stats. Wilder has a better jab than Joseph Parker, and I think he's quicker than Joseph Parker with that jab. Wilder is real quick, you know what I mean, with that jab, right? Especially at that size, right? When he bulked up, gained all that weight, it slowed him down a little bit, right? But Robert Helenius looked extremely, against Robert Helenius, he looked extremely fast, right? You know what I mean? Before Robert Helenius, before Tyson Fury, he looked extremely fast, right? Even in that first Tyson Fury fight, looked extremely fast, you know what I mean, with that jab, right? So Wilder, has quick hands, contrary to belief. So the hand speed is either equal or I'm edging Wilder, right? So if it's equal, Wilder still has that 7 inches of arm reach. I think Wilder go be able to touch Joseph Parker when he want to touch him, and I think that smells trouble for Joseph Parker, man. I got Wilder knocking Joseph Parker out, and actually, I think it may come early. I think he might come early, dog. I think he may be a early Deontay Wilder knockout of Parker. Not because Parker a bad fighter, because I couldn't even get past that 7 inches of arm reach, bro. And again, the last time I did this was with Bam and Sonny, dog. That arm reach is a real thing. You know what I mean? Especially when they are similar in talent, right? I'm not gonna be crazy and say Wilder is 10 times better than Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker can fight. Joseph Parker is an Olympian too. He can fight. He can box. He only got a loss to who he lose? He lost to Joe Joyce, right? Dylan White, Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua, champion. Joe Joyce, top contender. That Dylan White loss is tough. Ooh, that's an ugly one. Boy, that's an ugly one. Ooh, that's an ugly loss. But I digress, right? Got one bad loss, Dylan White, right? Everybody else he lost to top contenders, and even Dylan White is a top contender. Yeah. I almost threw up saying that, right? But by ranking, he is a top contender, right? So I digress, right? So he lost to top contender. But this fight, just too big of an uphill battle for him. Don't think he will be able to send up to that right hand. Think Wilder is the better boxer. Think he's faster on his feet. Think he's faster with the jab. Think he's stronger with the punch. You know what I mean? Joseph Parker ain't the rough house him kind of guy, so he not even gonna be able to, rough house Wilder because that's not even his style. You know what I mean? If he try to rough house, I really think he go get knocked out because Wilder is great off the back foot. Wilder can box off his back foot. You know what I mean? He could box off his back foot, and Malik got him using angles and turning and whatnot. So I got Wilder knockout. I got Wilder knockout over Parker, and I'm thinking Wilder knocks out Parker. I think Wilder knocks out Joseph Parker in the second round. I think Wilder knocks out Joseph Parker in the second round, man. I think he gets the beat on him. And I think I'm going to go third round, right? I think in the second, I'm going to go third. I'm going to go Wilder, third round knockout over Joseph Parker. Wilder knockout over Joseph Parker is how I'm going to play it in my parlay, right? So I got Wilder by KO over Joseph Parker to round out the card. That's an A fight. Not sure if Wilder the main event, Anthony Joshua is the main event, right? The last thing I heard, Anthony Joshua thought Wilder was the main event. They asked Wilder who the main event. He said he don't know, right? I would think it would be Anthony Joshua, right? But when they asked Joshua, he said he don't know, and he said maybe Wilder, right? So you know how that go, right? So we got Wilder by KO, right? So we got 8 fights. right? So we got 8 fights. I'm about to give y'all the rundown. Let's see where we at on this clock. The rundown at 1:58:30, right? Now we gonna do the rundown at 1:59, right? So we gonna go rundown. Drop this in there at 1:59. All right, we're gonna go to rundown at 1:59. So I'm gonna kill a couple of seconds. Right? Well, let's go and get to it, man. We go give y'all the rundown for Saturday night, the day of reckoning. 8 matches on this card. I see 5 heavyweight fights, 1 cruiserweight, and they got Dimitri Bivol. Right, the first fight of the night is Arslanbek Makhmudov and Ajit Kabel. We got Makhmudov KO over Kabel. We gonna throw this in our parlay on FanDuel. Makhmudov KO. Frank Sanchez versus Junior Fowl. I think that's gonna be a good fight. I got Frank Sanchez boxing his way into a KO over Junior Fowl, right? So we got Frank Sanchez KO. We got Flip Hrgovic KO, and I think what's gonna be the worst fight on the card. I think Flip Hrgovic better get him out of there early, right? He should get him out of there early, right? So we got Flip Hrgovic KO over Mark Damari. Dimitri Bivol and London Arthur. Dimitri Bivol ain't been in the ring in a year and a month. I think he will have to shake off a little bit of that ring rust early, but he finds a way to beat London Arthur, outboxes London Arthur to the scorecards. Dimitri Bivol, unanimous decision over London Arthur. How we go play it on FanDuel? We got Dimitri Bivol on the points. We got Daniel Dubois versus Jared Miller. We got Daniel Dubois trying to prove that, he's still one of the elite. We got Jared Miller trying to prove that he's not a fuck up, right? Since their AJ debacle. I got Jared Miller over Daniel Dubois by knockout, right? I think Jared Miller has a message to send, and I think that he goes send it, right? If he don't gas out, over the course of that fight, I see him stopping Daniel Dubois. I've seen Daniel Dubois get hurt, get rocked. Jared Miller is an active fighter, right? Pretty much. Well, he got 26 wins, 23 knockout, right? More so attrition knockouts, not a one-shot kind of guy. I think he wears down Daniel Dubois, gets that knockout. Jared Miller knockout over Daniel Dubois. We got Opatia over my boy Ellis Zorro. In this fight, I think Opatia going to be a little too much for Ellis Zorro. Don't think Ellis Zorro is going to have the power to keep Opatia at bay. Alpha got Opatia stopping Ellis Zorro in that fight. Opatia KO as well, right? Deontay Wilder versus Joseph Parker. I got Deontay Wilder knocking out Joseph Parker. I think it's going to be a highlight fashion knockout, not because Joseph Parker is a bad boxer, because I think this is a bad style matchup for Joseph Parker. Got Deontay Wilder winning that fight, 3rd round KO over Joseph Parker. Deontay Wilder KO in the parlay. And then we got Anthony Joshua versus Otto Wallin. Now, I've been, back and forth on this fight. Low key, I think this fight is, a toss-up, right? I think it's a toss-up, right? But I'm going to go with Anthony Joshua. I think Anthony Joshua's game plan. Derrick James, I think he's been working with Derrick James, not using Derrick James for this fight, right? He's been physically training with Derrick James, got rid of a lot of that, popcorn weight, a lot of that water weight, that popcorn muscle. And I think that's I think that's been helpful for his stamina. And I think that's going to see him through. I think that's going to be able to, give him the energy to get to the back half of that fight, along with, Anthony Joshua knowing that I can't burn myself out like I did against Alexander Usyk, right? And he almost stopped Alexander Usyk in that second fight. And I think that's where he learned that, I can't burn myself out, because Anthony Joshua wins a couple more of those championship rounds against Alexander Usyk. He beats Alexander Usyk. And I think in that fight, he learned that, okay, I need to make sure I have my energy for the back end of the fight. And I think he's been fighting that way since then. So I think he takes Otto Wallin into deep waters. Otto Wallin kind of slows down over the back end of his fight. And I think Anthony Joshua's pressure I think he plays a little bully ball, right, with Otto Wallin on the back end of that fight, and he's able to get that win by decision. I don't think he's going to stop Anthony Joshua. I don't think he's going to stop Otto Wallin, right? but I do think he's going to be able to do enough to squeak out a decision over Otter Wilder, the Southpaw, who's a good boxer, right? So I got Anthony Joshua by decision in that fight, right? But Skinny Hardaway, Southern T, this ain't the past, this ain't the future, but just the present. That's how we rocking. And I'm out. Look, I'm gonna drop the rundown timestamp at the bottom of this joint, right? So for the folks, who don't got the time, you just come in and listen to the whole card breakdown. The rundown is at 159. I'm gonna drop that in the comments. Y'all want to see who I got, how I stacked it up. You be able to click that rundown in the comments. Appreciate everybody sliding through this thing, man. Skin Hardway 7T. This ain't the past, this ain't the future, but this the present. That's how we rocking. And I'm out. Look.